Some of the FAQs for this kind of a classroom teaching is, majority of the teachers ask, can I cover the same content? The answer is yes, you can cover. Once you become adept to this method, you can actually cover more. But initially it may be slightly, we have an apprehension whether I can do the same thing as I used to do, because I was lecturing for an hour, but now my lecture time has reduced. So the only thing is, the same amount, how can you give in a shorter time? That training we need to do. How will students respond? How will you respond when HOD or equivalent person asks you to do twice the job that you are currently doing? What will be your response? Same thing. Students are human beings, they are not subhuman beings. So when you are asking them to do more job, they may not really welcome it, obviously, right? But it's good for them. That's why we are making them, forcing them to do. So there can be resistance, a lot of literature on students' resistance on this active learning, but it's, you have to tackle it. You have to make them, say for example, in IIT itself, very senior professor who came for this workshop, and he went back to the class, he wanted to do an active cooperative class. He asked this question, throw a problem, now you do it. It's the first time that probably such a class is happening in IIT. I'm talking about 2009. And students are not familiar. He asked them to do it, they simply stared him back. 1 minute, not even 1 minute, a few seconds passed by. Total silence. Then professor said, look like you are not in a mood to do, then I will continue my lecture. That's it. That class will never follow him for any activity, because they know that if you stare back, professor will go back to the lecture. What you should do in that situation is, they will stare you stare back. That's all. Slowly somebody will see that opening the book and then start doing it. You need to force them. There is no easy way. Okay? But this response, that means they are not wholeheartedly come forward and do it, is a normal human behavior. So understanding that, and then probably slightly force them to do it. Can I use the same format in large class? This is another question that people normally ask. There is no different methodology for a large class or a small class. It's only a question of scaling it up. Your management people may be knowing better. It's a scale up issue, right? So how is your class strength? What is the strength of your class? You don't need any assistance. If it is 200 and all, you may need another person to help you for conducting such classes, but 50 is manageable. You can do it by yourself. Jigsaw. Okay. I'll again show you the jigsaw. Tell me how jigsaw works. Don't put all the experts in one team. Right? That's what common thing that we ask the teachers. When you are teaming somebody, same caliber people should not be around one table. Then there is no cooperative work happens. In stage 1, what happens is that this color coding indicate different topics in the syllabus. In the syllabus there are many topics, no? Some syllabus you can actually parallelly process 4 or 5 different topics. So such cases you can actually give this team one topic, this team another topic, yet another topic. Now when you give a topic, they are not experts. They have to learn it. There is a teacher which is not shown here. These are learner-centric approaches. Teacher is not there. Teacher is behind the curtain. So here, teacher will ensure that each team becomes an expert in that topic over a period of time. It may take 1 week, 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks, depends upon the outcome that we are trying to achieve. By the teacher is spending lot of time with each team. So when the class comes, they are sitting in teams. Teacher is going to one team, giving them the outcome, content, questions, assignments, discussion. Teacher is again parallel going to another team, the same class, and then do the same thing to another team. So teacher is moving from team to team to team. The work is happening in each team. What kind of work teacher decides. And teacher is giving feedback to their queries, concerns. Which means there is no lecture happening in the class at all. Because you cannot give lecture on 4 topics simultaneously, right? So no lecture, 0 lecture class. Just go to the team, Pull a chair, sit there, say that this is what this topic. Probably can give a small overview or very information. You can give worksheet, content, syllabus, books, materials. Ask them to do some, solve something. Give a case study. Give questions on that case study. Let them find out. Your job is to see how many of them are actually able to do it. You give feedback to them on their work. After 2 weeks, now you see that, okay, these 4 guys are expert in that topic. It's your certification. You are certifying as a teacher. And these blue guys are expert on the next topic. Once your challenge is within the same time, 4 expert team you need to build. Once you feel that, okay, they are all expert, stage 2 begins. There you shuffle, and obviously, as you said, yellow guy will teach others because yellow guy is an expert on this topic. And the blue guy will teach others what is he or she is an expert on. Pink guy will teach what he or she is an expert on. So like that, stage 2, it's basically peer learning. So what is the role of the teacher? Observation and learning verification. Assessment is the role here. This yellow guy is teaching others, but you need to verify these 3 are learning. That is teacher's job. Similarly, based on the topic, an expert is telling others about that, but you are doing the learning verification. That is teacher's job. But that is a job teacher is doing in the stage 2. A lot of homework is needed for this method. So I don't recommend you to immediately start with the jigsaw. My recommendation is start with book and model class. Book and model is very easy to adapt. Again, all classes don't convert into book and model at a stretch. Book and model is highly dynamic. For example, as somebody said, you ask them to do for 4 minutes. Once, kids are kids. When they start talking, they won't stop immediately after 3-4 minutes. What do? There are so many challenges in that class. It's a dynamic situation. So you need to probably convert a couple of classes in a semester and see how it actually goes. And slowly get a training on that. Then you can convert. That is the most. So jigsaw was stage 1. Each expert group learns an assigned segment and prepared to teach it to others. And each learning group has this many experts who teach their segments to the group. That is a stage 2. Some of the teaching mistakes all of us do. When you ask a question in the class, immediately call volunteers. If somebody is raising the hand, we are very happy. Bad practice. So the number of volunteers in a class is always fixed. Same person will come. Do you see many new people coming raising their hand? No, the same guys will be raising the hand. That is the problem. So others know that answer will come invariably. So they don't even process your question. Why? Why take hassle? That is the problem. So asking question is a very nice thing in the class, but teacher choose the learner. You ask specifically whom to answer and randomly call. So that everybody is on their toes. Teacher may call me to answer also. That kind of a atmosphere, a climate we need to create in the class. Okay. Call on students cold. This means some teachers, very enthusiastic teachers, they ask questions and then immediately after asking the question, now you say, now, right now. That's called calling students cold. When you demand question on the spot very abruptly, they will be under huge pressure. When you are under pressure, you cannot think straight. So don't do that part. Ask question, give a few seconds. Let them process it. See, everybody is standing on a different points in a learning curve. So they need different time. So give a few seconds. They will prepare a right answer, wrong answer, partially right answer. But let them be ready. So don't call them on cold. Turn classes into PowerPoint show. PPT or Blackboard, which is better for teaching? Okay, spoon or fork, which is good for eating? Somebody said fork. That's interesting. So when we ask the second question, normally people say it depends upon the food. So same answer apply for the first question, like sometimes board is better, sometimes PPT is better. So PPT is not a bad idea, but PPT show is a bad idea. Okay, 15 minutes class if you go with 98 slides. That is a very bad idea. That's only you can show, keep on changing it, not teaching learning. It's only a supporting thing. Right? That way we need to use it as a PPT. That's important. Fail to provide variety in teaching. Even the methodology, if you use the same methodology every class, it will be boring. That's why lecture is boring. Your class should be having a lot of variety. Sometimes individual activity, sometimes group activity, sometimes a lecture. So try to bring different ways of conducting the class. That's important. Have students work in group with no individual accountability. We are coming to this individual accountability part in a few minutes. We'll come back to this. Fail to demonstrate relevance. Those who are having kids at LKG, UKG or primary school at home, they might have noticed this when they do homework. Try to interfere and then try to say, do this way. There's a standard reply. Don't interfere with me, this way my teacher told me to do. That's called child learning psychology. They just follow teacher. The same child, when she becomes adolescent age, whether teacher says or you say, she will ask, why should I do that way? This why question is a brain development aspect. Adolescent age group will ask this question, why? They need the relevance. So we are all dealing with the grown-up kids. So unless you say that, why am I learning this particular thing? They are not actually ready to learn it. Psychological block is there. So anything that we try to teach, there should be a need for it and that purpose should be established. Not easy, okay? Purpose establishment is not easy. We can tell this is the reason and all, but nobody is going to buy it. So it's a very, very difficult process. Give tests that are too long. So what research says that frequent but short examination system is better than infrequent and long. The policymakers are not listening. These are all data available in the literature. Get stuck in a rut. Get stuck in a rut means there are teachers who makes ownership on courses. That course only I will teach. That should not be the case. Once in a while we try to change the course. The advantage is that otherwise you will get stuck in a rut. You will not be an innovative way. You cannot present the same thing if you are teaching it for semester after semester after semester after semester. Once you change something, you will see that there are various thoughts or different possibilities comes to your mind. How to do it. Teach without clear learning outcomes. Clarity on what is to be learned should be there before we start. Last but not least, disrespecting students. There are different generations, they have different characteristic features, but respect is something that is a give and take policy, always works. You genuinely respect somebody, respect will normally come back unless the other person is having some physiologically problem. Otherwise, respect will be coming back. So this is something that teachers can actually practice in the class. Genuinely show respect to a crowd, they will try to respect you. Very, very important aspect of this team learning, which is very important in the active cooperative learning. We said we will ask them to do something in the class, right? When we ask them to do something in the class, these two things we need to take care. One is called positive interdependence. Another one is called individual accountability. Only two things. Positive interdependence. Let us see what it is. Have you seen parachute jumpers? When they jump from the aircraft, they hold each other to support. Okay? So positive interdependence means team members relying on each other to accomplish a specific goal. That particular aspect is called positive interdependence. So what I want you to think and answer is, what is your teaching strategy to promote positive interdependence? So it's a strategy design. You have teams in the class. You want them to do positive interdependence. What teaching strategy would you use? What is a good number for a team? 3, 4, maximum 5. 3, 4. Don't increase the number for team. Okay. So how do we, in the brainstorming, how do we bring the dependency part? How do we ensure that they're actually work in a team, work as a team? That is one strategy. They are already telling sequencing. Assign a member a particular role and actually then everybody will try to work as a team, because only one role I have to do, I will do that, and other person will do the other role. So the entire teamwork is sequenced now. That is one good strategy. I agree that one person's work should be impacted by that. Yeah, that's a good strategy. Any other totally different approach? No. Rewarding. Okay, yeah, reward. Suppose 4 members, if you reward, yeah, so like to get a set goals, right? So you ask them to do something and then give a reward. Reward award is always a boosting thing. Only thing what is literature says is about reward. Reward works for many of such activities, I agree. Depends upon the depth of the intellectual involvement of the activity. If it is a lower level taxonomy activity, okay, reward actually works. Moment you start climbing in the taxonomy, for example, create level, there actually reward is counterproductive. That is something that literature is saying, that any creative activity, if you try to incentivize people, it actually backfire. If it is a routine way, step 1, step 2, step 3, you implement it, reward works like a charm. But the moment it becomes, the complexity increases. Yes, then because there you need a lot of focus. You should not be and self-driven. There are many other elements for complex learning. Complex learning cannot be demanded many times. So it's slightly, but to a certain aspect in a classroom teaching learning, many of these stuffs are probably in the lower level of taxonomy. The reward works. It kills the team spirit, right? I mean, so cooperativity is lost. Always give one common goal for a team. Role independence. Assign team members different roles. That's what you set the roles of the work. There are other way of assigning roles like monitor, team leader. Those kind of titles you can give. That is also another way of assigning. You can rotate those roles. You can give bonus points. This last strategy is slightly difficult. They call it resource interdependence. What means that you limit the resources and develop complementary expertise in the group. Which means, suppose there is a 2-member team. Just for example, I am giving a problem to the team, that the problem demands a lot of memory and a lot of imagination. And I am getting 2 people, one is very good in memory, another one is very good in imagination. Obviously they will collaborate. That strategy is called limiting the resources and complementary expertise you bring it. For that probably you need to know the learners and then who is good at what. It's slightly difficult, but it's another strategic approach. So there are different, this is not a complete list. You can think and then come up with a different strategy. The idea is that there should be a teamwork. See, it's not a group, it's a team. Football team, not football group. There's a difference between group and team. One more aspect, individual accountability. Members are held accountable for doing their share of work plus mastering all materials in the teamwork. One person presenting entire work is called individual accountability. So that terminology is very easy to get confusion. Individual accountability doesn't mean that we are holding that person accountable for his share alone. His plus or her plus others. Entire teamwork.
As a group, he is accountable.
Is accountable. Otherwise, what happened when you assign role means only that part we'll do and then we'll forget this other's job. Why should I bother? That also not good. So individual accountability is very important for teamwork. So 2 strategy we got, one strategy basically that. So random check is that strategy called. Any workplace, these 2 things are there. What we are doing is,
That's what I want.
What is that?
Accountability also there.
Yeah, these 2 things, accountability as well as this interdependence are there for any teamwork, should be there. But what we are doing is, when we are teaching them, are we training them? That means in a classroom, through this teamwork exercise, we always give case studies. In that case study exercise, are we bringing...
best to do that.
So that's the only thing that we are emphasizing. If the teacher is actually in every case study, bring these 2 elements, then when they go to the workplace, automatically this will be there. Otherwise, they learn from mistake. That's obviously, it is a part of learning. But we are training them in advance so that, because sometimes what happens that, not intentionally, teachers give the case study, ask them questions, there we stop. So are we really going to the details of this thing and then implement in every team? It's not easy. Okay, it's not that easy to implement. There are multiple teams there, individual accountability and positive interdependence, every team monitoring, keeping an eye, giving feedback is not that easy as we say. Learning is always better if it's an experiential learning. Let them have in the classroom when they are with you, let them actually experience it. These are the things to be there in the workplace rather than put it as an advice mode. Advice mode, of course, if it works is well and good, but for an entire class, if it is a practice and a culture, many students will take it forward. That is the only thing that I want to tell. I group work and see, there is a whole lot of literature about dysfunctional teams. Making team, asking them to do something is very easy. There are many dysfunctional teams happens. So how to address this? A lot of literature is there. Studies are done. So I agree, completely agree that it's not easy. We can say many things, but when putting into practice, that's what I said, at least some of these elements if you keep in mind, whenever we are asking them to do something in the class, we will make an attempt at least. Even though we will not make a perfection. Okay, so with this note, thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you very much.